welcome back to Sistas in Crime with Shy and Toy. My name is Toy, short for Latoya.
And I'm Shamia. You can call me Sha.
All right, and we're back with another episode. So this episode is not gonna be as lengthy as the past few have been. And I don't think, well, it's still murder, but the topic I don't think is as triggering as recent episodes have been. So we wanted to kind of be on a lighter note, but I mean, when you talk about murder, it can't be that light. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So this week we're discussing Lyle Eugene Keidel. He goes by Gene. So I'm gonna start off with a little background information like we always do, and then we're gonna take it from there, okay? So good old Gene was born August the 27th, 1936 in Congerville, Illinois. That is in Woodford County in Illinois. He was born to parents Levi O. Keidel and Anna M. Holliger. I don't know how to pronounce that. Keidel. So good old Clyde was the youngest of five children. I'm pretty sure there were three girls and two boys. So he was the baby boy. In 1956, he met his wife, Miss Diane Keidel, while she was working at her father's grocery store in Peoria, Illinois. So at the time, Diane was about 21. Now she had been recently divorced and she had a 2-year-old daughter, Susie. I'm just not realizing she was recently divorced at the age of 21.
Yes.
Like, girl, you started real early. But anyway,
Yes.
recently divorced and had a 2-year-old daughter, Susie. So Diane and Jean dated for about a year. And you know how that goes. They fell in love and then they got married.
Mm-hmm.
And then after they were married, they moved to Phoenix, Arizona. So that's way on the other side of the map. And they ended up having three additional children, which was Lori, Greg, and Kelly. All right, so now I'm gonna pass it over to Shy, and we can go from there.
Okay, so the couple go on to have three additional kids. So, of course, you have the oldest child from a previous marriage, and now you have three additional kids. So, it reported that in 1966, the couple started having marital problems that resulted in the couple feeling like the best solution was divorce and separation, right? So, Gene moves out, gets his own apartment, and then Diane stays at home with the kids to keep the home. Okay. So on September 17th, the couple met for dinner just to discuss the terms of like the property and custody and all that stuff. And it was reported the conversation went great. It wasn't like any beefing or like seemed like they were on the same page and everything was fine. So once dinner was done, Diane dropped Gene off at his apartment, and she went on to meet her boyfriend named Bob. Now there were several witnesses that saw her with her boyfriend. I said, "Girl," she said.
And I don't blame her because you don't need to heal, girl. Go. I was about to say something. Go ahead.
So I said, "Okay, all right, girl." So she was meeting with Bob. They were having drinks at a hotel. I believe it was like a bar at a hotel. And Gene, keep in mind, he's back at his apartment, so he called the house to check on the kids. So the kids told their dad, that their mom wasn't there. So it didn't seem like anything was off. So he just went over to the house and stayed with the kids, I guess, until she got back home. So Diane, so the next morning, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. The next morning, the kids wake up and their mom isn't there. Her car is there, her keys are there, but she's not there, which is completely strange. So immediately they file a missing persons report. Now, the detectives were like, could she have like taken off? Her friends were like, no, because she would never do anything like that. Really didn't have a reason to. Her life, she was gonna be divorced soon with 4 kids, but it wasn't anything stressful for her. It didn't seem like. But investigators thought maybe she thought about how much responsibility she was gonna have as a single parent, and maybe she just took off. But her friends were like, no. So years go by, and she was never solved. So the let me figure out which route to go. So a
Let me just
couple.
add something
Uh huh.
real quick.
Okay.
So, now the boyfriend, in light of, her being missing, investigators went and interviewed the
Yes.
boyfriend, who his name was Bob Marlin.
Yes.
This
Well,
was
they
the
tried
day
to.
after, yes.
Yeah.
This was the day after they had went to the
The
I guess
bar
it's
to
like
have
a
a
hangout
drink.
spot. It was like a
Hmm.
hotel. It was called Amber Inn. I guess it's like a hotel bar situation. So this was the day after. So when they went to interview Bob, they found out that he died of a heart attack. And this is literally the day after
Yo, literally the next day, this man
he
is
was
dead.
seen with Diane. So okay, and then we gonna pick it up from there, cause yeah.
Yes. So they filed a missing police report. You know, the last person to see Diane is dead. So they're like, we don't know. Like they were kind of just stuck. So Jean, of course, moves back into the house to take over, taking care of the kids. So 4 months later, another tragedy happens. He was at the laundromat. Jean was at the laundromat, and the kids were at home, and a fire started. The kids were literally stuck in their bedrooms. So they were trying, the oldest daughter, Susie, from Diane's previous marriage, she was trying to keep everybody safe and get out of the house. So Lori, I believe she's the youngest daughter, one of the younger daughters, ran back just like the mentality of a child, ran back in her room to get her stuffed animal, and Susie ran after her. So they're in her room and they just get stuck in there because of the fire. And Susie laid on top of Lori to protect her from the fire, and she was telling her, I'll always protect you. I love you. I'll never leave you. And it was just so sad. And Lori got out alive, but Susie and the other daughter, Kelly, they passed away. But her brother and Lori, they survived. But it was just so sad that the older sister, she died. I mean, what a hero
Protecting
she
her
was.
and saving her,
Yeah,
like
saving her, a child
that,
herself.
that broke my heart, y'all.
It did.
And so I'm gonna insert this
Yes.
because this case is covered on Forensic Files, and it's also covered on Evil Lives Here. That's on the ID channel.
Hmm.
The second way she's told it was that she, everything was so hot around her when Susie came to get her, because Susie was like a protector over her, younger siblings. So Susie came, was trying to round them up. Lori tells the story on the ID channel that the only way she was able to get out was to crawl. And then as she was crawling, like, hold on one second, I got a call. So as she was crawling, I guess the smoke or fire or whatever blew her back into the room.
Hmm.
And she said on there that, now I know her account of this is correct, but she's told it two different ways. So she told it on there that Kelly ran back to get the stuffed animal. So I was like, like the math ain't math, and like I know he said, something's going on, but she told it that Kelly was the one that ran back to get, whatever, and that, like Sha said, Susie was on top of him trying to protect him. That part remained the same. So my heart just immediately broke for Susie, because at this point she's like, what, 12 years old, Sha?
Yes, Susie was 12 and
She's
Lori
like,
was 5.
that's what I'm saying, and it's like I just, like, I'm the same for my siblings. Like, my babies know I love them. Like, I would do the same, but so I feel for her, because like I'm the oldest girl, but I couldn't imagine, like, my heart just breaks for Susie,
Mhm.
because it's like
How scared she was.
she has so many responsibilities and so much pressure and weight on her at such a young age. Like, people my age, and I'm 33. People, but for y'all purposes, 25. Like they will literally like people my age can't handle that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the smallest amount of pressure and they just crack or snap. And I'm not immune to it because I've been under a lot of pressure today on my
Yeah.
job. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that was really crazy. Like I just feel for Susie. But
I
go
did
ahead,
too.
boo.
No, I did too because I was like, you think she's a child too, and for her just trying to save her siblings and thinking about her siblings, not even herself, and that just, oh man, that just really did something to me. And when I saw that, it just, so y'all, so with the fire, of course, there's an investigation, and they found a melted pot on the stove. All right, now immediately, yes, they did think that something was suspicious, but they didn't dive into it anymore. And I was like, that's the biggest mistake y'all could have ever made. Because immediately I was like, this man is at the laundromat. And granted, I mean, in the beginning of the story, mom was out, doing her thing.
Yeah.
And at 12, I wouldn't say that age is too young to leave a child at home by themselves. I wouldn't, let me just, I guess it just depends on. So the dad had to, Gene had to remove Lori from the funeral because she would not calm down.
Right.
And it jogged, what happened was he didn't know, but seeing that guy in the casket really triggered her. And it took her back to that night in September when her mom went missing. And I know y'all probably wondering, like why did that trigger her so much? So y'all, here's the trip, right? So in 93, right? 93. All right.
Yes.
So Laura is an adult at this time. And she felt like, I gotta get this off my chest. She had been living with this dark secret for years, and she realized like she was the only one living who knew the truth at this point. So she said that night of September 17th, her mom actually returned home, and her dad and mom were arguing. And she really, her and her sister Susie were watching the argument. It was reported that her father was an alcoholic and he was very physically abusive towards her mother
And the kids.
and the kids. And her mom was just like, she didn't tolerate that. You don't put your hands
Yeah.
on her. She
And I
did
don't
not
blame
put
her.
her
That's
hands.
probably, I mean, she probably just got tired of it. And that's why she filed for divorce. I don't
Right,
blame you because,
right.
first of all, you ain't going to touch me, let alone my children. And I don't
Exactly.
have children yet, but you lay a
Yes.
hand on my nieces and
Don't you dare.
nephews.
Exactly.
You better not even think about it. Period. My little cousins either. I don't play that.
Right. I don't play that. And
No.
she didn't either. And she was very protective of her kids. That's how they knew when she went missing something was not right.
Mm-hmm.
So, y'all. So Diane goes to the police department and she writes a long letter, and she basically, like I said, details that night. So she's watching them fight that night,
Yep.
and her mother stopped arguing with their father because she saw them in the hallway looking. And it kind of caught off guard. She was like, kind of like, let me get my composure, let me stop arguing. And he takes that moment of her trying to shut down the whole issue, shut down the whole fight, and he hit her so hard that she fell on the floor.
Yes.
And immediately he looks up and he sees that the girls see him, and the girls like immediately run. They run and hide in a closet, which is so, I can imagine how frightened they were to watch their mother hit the floor.
And you know what? On the Evil Lips here, Lori said that they did it often. Like a lot of times when they would have fights that would spiral out of control. Now, granted, it never got this bad, but like we said, he's been abusive to Diane.
Right.
So Lori said every time they would do that, they went and hid in the closet. Like I couldn't even imagine like how you're scared of your daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
The one
that.
that's supposed to protect you.
Yes, and it's like in most cases revolving domestic violence, I hear about that person attacking their partner
Mhm.
primarily. But you're also attacking kids, so those kids are so fearful of you that they go and hide in the closet until the sun come up.
Yep. Yep. So they hide in the closet, and I think when they felt like the coast was clear, they came out of the closet. Well,
Mhm.
oh, the sight that they saw. So they're looking outside, and they see their father carrying their mother's lifeless body
Mhm.
outside. Now, imagine being 5 and 12 and watching this. So, as a child, they're thinking mom's sleep, but they see their father digging a hole. And y'all, he buried that woman in the back of their home. So the next day, he's pouring concrete on that exact spot. And he told them that they could not play outside until that concrete job was finished, right? So Lori accounts where she would ask her father, "Can I dig a hole in the ground to feed my mama?"
That told me up.
Like, and it's just a child. She's a child, so she was like,
She's
but she's,
5.
yeah. But at this time, her telling her story, y'all, she's an adult, so like, but at the age of 5, she was asking her father, but her father threatened them both and said,
Yeah.
"If you say anything, this is exactly what he said. I brought you in this world and I will take you out. If you say anything about what you saw and what happened to your mom, I will kill you." That
Yeah.
is exactly what he said.
And he
A
meant that.
father said that to his daughter.
He meant that because on Evil Lives Here, Lori goes in, like, it's a little more detail. So Lori goes into more detail. Even after this, Gene still tried to take Lori out like a
Mm-hmm.
couple times because he hit, like, did you saw that there was one instance where he bought a boat and would take her out and then throw her into the ocean and tell her, this is verbatim, so I'm not cursing. This is what he told Lori, per Lori: swim, little bitch. Now, mind you, she still had burns and everything on her body from when she was burnt in the house
Mm-hmm.
fire,
Yeah.
because she was in the hospital for months on end.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times it would tear open her wounds, and once it tore open her wounds, of course, blood attracts sea life. So they would come up at her and just kind of nibble around her. And when she would swim back to shore, it said she would swim long enough so she could just stand up. When she would swim back to shore, he would be there like surprised, like, damn, you made it, you survived. Now, Lori said he did this 8 or 9 times because, mind you, Susie, she's the only one left
Yes.
who can attest to what happened to her mother. So she was a threat, quite naturally. Greg didn't know anything about this.
Mm-hmm.
Susie and Greg are the only two surviving children. So, not Susie and Greg, I'm sorry, Lori and Greg.
Yeah.
But only Lori and Susie knew about it. So
Mm-hmm.
Susie's
Mm-hmm.
gone.
Mm-hmm.
Lori is left. She's a threat because he ain't going to jail for you, for his daughter, his wife, and nobody else.
Right. But that just shows you the true monster he was. I mean, from day one. But what was kind of funny was when they were like giving details about when they met. They said he wasn't the most attractive. I said, "And sure, you're right,
It
because he
wasn't. I
wasn't."
looked at them old pictures. I was like, "Oh, Diane, you really settled, boo. You
Yeah.
downgraded.
Right.
You
But he
downgraded."
he looks like he could play Freddy Krueger. He
He
honestly
looked crazy. Like, he
he looks
is not
crazy.
cute. Like, y'all gotta watch that episode, Friends of Files. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's always come through. I think it's season 4, episode 11.
11 haunted
Yes,
vision.
Haunted Visions. Watch that
Mm-hmm.
episode. I was
Mm-hmm.
dying. I said no, they didn't. Wasn't shady with Mr. Gene like that, but he
They
was.
did,
He was.
but
Ugh.
they told no lies. They told
They
no
did
lies.
not. They did
No,
not.
but they said
Not a
he was a good
nan.
talker, And I can't
Very good
imagine
talker.
how that, like, especially with everything going on, how that probably worked for him.
Because you know what? If you ugly, you gotta have something going for yourself. So he
Yeah,
probably was just conniving and connived that woman for 10 years, and she got tired of it.
yes, and and it was nice. I was kind of chipper because I was like, it's good that they were ending their marriage on a good note, like it wasn't any like beef or
Yeah,
they were able to be civil and sit down and just put the kids before their personal feelings and figure this thing out, life after everything. And the whole time he had it all planned out.
because you know what? I feel like I don't think he necessarily planned it. I feel like some kind of way he found out that she was on a date with another man. And
That's
they
what
haven't
made him
even
mad.
finalized the divorce. And
Yep.
because of that, because remember, Mr. Bob just randomly had a heart attack.
They need to explore that too.
They need to figure out what happened. That was not accidental. I don't care what y'all say. I feel like well, you know what? If that's the case, he might have did plan it. Because he could have found out about him in advance. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And he knew that he was going to meet up with her to discuss the finalization of the divorce and work some things out. And she like dropped him off, immediately left there and went to talk to somebody else. Because why would you just randomly come to the house after she
Yeah.
dropped you off at your apartment?
Yeah. I
You know
know
what I
he called the
mean?
kids, but you knew they were there alone anyway. Because
Well, they actually weren't. They were with a babysitter.
I thought they said they were alone though.
They were with a babysitter, and when he got there, he was like, what's where, basically where Diane, da da da. But it's
Mm-hmm.
just real suspicious circumstances on this one night. Y'all have been separated for a while leading up to divorce, but on this one night, you go by the house, and then all of this happens. So he sent the babysitter home, and then
Mm-hmm.
everything else happened that we spoke about earlier. But I feel like they need to go back and investigate Mr. Bob Marlin. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, statute of limitations runs out on murder, but he definitely is a suspect in that because that is just crazy.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a coincidence.
Like, okay, the day before he dies of a heart attack, and then Diane is missing.
Yes, you know what I mean.
Like, how do you think the universe aligned for that to happen? I was
And
like,
then
mm-hmm.
not only that, boo, but I was wondering, I said, now how does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Quite naturally, when someone is missing or, there's a murder, the
Mm-hmm.
first suspect is going to be the spouse, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
So, was there not a search warrant conducted on the property? Because, sure enough, they would have seen that the ground was disturbed. They would have seen either the fresh grave or the slab of cement that had not been there before.
Yeah.
So, like, what did y'all do? Because the way Lori talks is as if they just took, because Mr. Jean was putting it out to anybody who would listen that she ran off with another man, and they took that and ran with it. But she had family and neighbors that was
Mm-hmm.
saying she would never abandon her kids, and
Mm-hmm.
they that was it. Like, so I'm like, did y'all even look at the search the property?
But I think that goes along with the fact that he was a good talker
Yeah, he
because.
told everybody within earshot that that girl
Mm-hmm.
ran off with her man.
Mm-hmm. But her man is dead,
And he
so.
provided them with a list of other men that all came up back to be dead ends. So it's like,
Hmm. They didn't want to. They didn't want to like dive further. Because let me tell y'all, Lori wins in the end. The child, she's an adult at this point where we're at right now, but she wins in the end. So provides this letter to the detectives, and the detectives are like stunned, right? Because they're like, they want to believe her, but they're like, how do we even begin to like validate her story? Like, how do we even start
yeah,
this? So they
yeah,
start this process of finding. Let me go back and find the name of the group, right? Because they went back because they were, they really wanted to follow up on it because. The detectives was like, he's been lied to by several criminals. A part of his job, he's been lied to by several criminals. But he just didn't see that she was lying. He was like,
Yeah.
I want to believe her. So he wanted to follow up on, what she said. So,
And I would have believed her too, because she had a lot of details and specifics. And they
yeah,
probably looking like, well, this is Jean's daughter, and she's saying this, like that's real specific. Only the only people would know that is someone who was there. Like,
right. And not only that, for the fact that they had no leads, they was
right.
like, well, let's just try to figure it out. And then, so they did. So
Yeah.
they found this group called Necro Search. They're like a group of like forensic anthropologists, I believe what they're called. And they had this radar where, because keep in mind, he poured cement over the grave, right? At this point, she's an adult, and the house was sold. This man had already moved on, married again, had moved on with his
Mm-hmm.
life, and he thought that once he sold that house, that was gonna be it for an eternity. Like she was gonna be there. Like he had moved on with his life. So they come in with this radar, and it's able to tell, uh, like the radar is able to detect if there's any disturbances of any kind under the ground, right? So they needed evidence in order to dig up that cement, because the house was under. They had a new owner and everything. It had a new owner and everything. Y'all took the radar out there. Sure enough, they found something. So that gave them the evidence they needed to at least get a warrant. So y'all, they dug up the cement, and I think after two like digs in the ground, I believe they hit something. Y'all, it was a human skull. Boom,
There it is.
boom. So they dug her up. Boom. So they found a body, and the body, it was all, of course, it was all bones at that point. So they said, all right, we got this body. She wasn't lying. So here's the full investigation. They saw that whoever this person was, they took the skeleton to the lab, and they saw that the skeleton had on clothes from like the 1960s, had pantyhose around her neck. They were able to determine it was a female who had probably had 2 or more kids, which just fits Diane. And they thought it was a Caucasian female. All right, so they were like, well, we still need more. So at that point, the body was so badly decomposed, there was no way they could find, well, no way they could do any DNA. They also couldn't verify her dental records because at that point, it's in the 90s. This happened in the 60s. This is in
Yes.
the 90s. Even her teeth had decomposed.
Yeah.
So they ended up using this system where they were able to line her skull up to an actual picture of her, and it was an exact match. They also used a tree like I said, who, like it's place, a tree, a tree that had overgrown, and they tested that as well, because they figured if they could prove that the body was placed in, because the tree root had grew in the skull. So they were trying to prove that the tree root, I'm sorry, that the body was placed there before the tree root had grew through it. And they were able to tell that too. So then they were able to verify it was Diane. And sure enough, they went and arrested Jean. Shame on you.
Murder. Bad. Bad, Jean. Bad.
You're just a disgusting person, because, and you got away with it. And the part that makes me angry is he lived a full life.
Oh, yeah.
These kids, well, Lori lived with this frightening memory of that night, and he lives a full life.
So I noticed I never saw anything where anyone spoke to Greg about this stuff.
That's what I wanted to know. I want to
I
know his
want to
perspective.
know what Greg got to say or what he thinks. But Greg, he might just went off metal. I didn't see anything
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Grad to
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
But you know what though? It could be one of those things for the fact that he did not see anything. He probably doesn't believe it happened.
That's what I was thinking. I
Allegedly.
said, yeah, for educational purposes only.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the same thing because I'm like, you're like, there's no mention of you literally anywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
you probably, taking up for your dad because your dad didn't try to take you out on more than one occasion
Mm-hmm.
because you weren't a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy. Like I would really like to know Gene's side of things. I don't even know if Gene will still be living because he was older than Lori, and Lori is like in her 70s now.
Really?
Yeah, Lori was
Well, yeah, because if she in the 90s,
no, not
she's probably in
70s.
her
Because they didn't even get married until I think it's 60s.
50, 60. No, they were married 10 years.
They were married 10 years.
They were,
So
yeah.
they divorced in 66, and at that time in 67, Lori was 5.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in her 60s, not 70s. My
Yeah.
apologies. But and if Greg is older than her, he might be likely in his 70s. So I'm just curious to know his side of things. Like yeah,
Mm-hmm. I know.
yeah,
I wondered that too because I was like, we've heard Lori, of course, the people that we can hear from, unfortunately.
yeah,
But where is he? Like he wasn't on any of the episodes. There's no interviews from him. Like allegedly, I just want to know: is it one of those dynamics where he wasn't exposed to any of this and he doesn't believe it? Because his father, when he was arrested, he was like, he didn't do it. I was like, well,
yeah.
who the hell did it, Gene?
Exactly. And who I saw I saw an episode where the police was asking him, well, who was living on your property at the time? He said, because you were living there in 60 Halloween whenever she went married went missing. He was like, it wasn't me. I didn't own the house then. He said, sir, yes you did. You didn't sell the house into such and such. I was weak. I said, Gene is trying his best to get out of this, sir.
Like, but he didn't, y'all. So let me go back and look at the exact date. He did not, y'all. Like, people can feel how they want to feel about putting an old person in jail, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I didn't mind at all because you need to go down for killing them chillins
Mm-hmm.
mama and telling everybody that basically she
Yeah.
was a loose woman. That's
Right.
basically what you're saying. And she just took off with
Yep.
another man, abandoned her
Right.
kids to
Yep.
what, like go join the circus or something, sir? Bye.
Right.
You, yeah, and I don't even know much about the second wife, but
Mm-hmm.
like you need to go down for that. Not the
Yeah.
wife, but Jean. I just wonder
Yeah.
how the second wife felt
How
once
she
she
felt.
found, yeah, like did she take his, I should have looked and seen if she took his side or if she
Mm-hmm.
immediately divorced him or
Mm-hmm.
what the case was, but I didn't see anything on that. Like,
But you know what though? They had a picture of her and Jean together on one of those episodes, right? And I was like, in my head, allegedly, in my head, y'all, in my head, this is my opinion. When they show a picture of the couple after something like that, that is a true evident, not an evident. What the Lord, not an evident.
indication
That is
maybe
a true indication of I'ma stick beside him in my head.
he mine and I'ma stick beside him.
I'ma stick beside him.
I'ma stick beside him.
But my thing is, that is scary because you are laying under that man.
I would never. You said you murder who? Your first wife? This could easily be me. This
Right.
could easily be me. I'm calling my mama like, look, I gotta come up with a plan, get away from this man, and I'm
Yeah.
out. Like as soon as the judge say give you your sentencing, maybe before then, after the jury say guilty on all
Mhm.
counts,
Mhm.
ain't no way. I'm not standing
Which is
beside nobody.
because okay, because Gene, sir, you gone, but I'm gonna talk to you still.
Exactly, cause you hit me.
Be-
Oh,
okay,
I need to look down. You hit me.
because you know that's where he at. You know that's where he at. Oh no, with gasoline draws on, you know that's where he at.
How
But
does it feel?
right, but sir, You didn't do it, right? But who would have access to your property long enough to do a job like that?
Come on now.
Like, you killed her, buried her, and did a
Mm.
concrete job over her
Mm.
body. Who has
Uh,
access to your property to
my Lord.
actually be
My
there that
Lord.
long without being suspicious?
My Lord. My Lord.
So you can play that game all you want to, sir. But I ain't
How does
buying
it feel now?
it. But but y'all, he didn't get away with it, and he was charged. And what I found very not eerie, but like wow, he was charged on September 23rd. And keep in mind, he murdered this woman on September the 17th, 1966.
Yes.
So not
Yes.
too long after.
Not Diane coming from beyond the grave.
Right. Look, arm swinging.
Now Lori said she was spicy. She said it wouldn't be just him because a lot of times she'll take it there too. Diane did not play with him. Diane
No.
didn't play with she wasn't like your stereotypical domestic violence victim. Like she was literally fighting
Yeah.
back,
She
y'all.
was sticking it to him too.
She was hitting him with radios and stuff.
Hmm.
And Lori was like, I just thought that was how moms and dads acted.
Yeah.
I was like,
It was
no,
really sad to hear
that is
her.
so crazy and traumatic.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But y'all, then he was sentenced on April 17th, 1995. He was found guilty of murdering his wife, and he was later sentenced to life in prison without parole. But
amen.
keep in mind, great, but this man has lived a full life.
He old, y'all. He already old when he
He was
already
old.
spent.
Like,
He old.
and y'all, he honestly, I think he died in what, 2003 or 7.
Now that I can't remember, but she didn't even. She just the way she accounts is that she just received a phone call, or no, a letter in the mail saying she'll no longer get notifications because she would be notified every time he tried to file for appeal.
Yeah.
And she was just like she would just keep getting. She just got a notice in the mail from the advocate's office saying that they'll no longer be contacting me because Jean Keidel has passed away. So that's how she found out her daddy was dead. She said, and as strange as it sounds, she did cry. But as far as what year, I'm not 100% certain on that.
I want to say it was oh 03 or oh
You
07.
know
He didn't
what?
stay in there long.
No, not long at all. Maybe what, 6, 7 years?
Something like that.
Like
It wasn't long at all.
2004. That's what it was.
So, y'all, a happy ending. So, Lori sues the fire department and wins because she sues because they didn't do their due diligence in investigating this fire that took the life of her siblings.
How do you see clearly that there's a pot on the stove is left on, and say that was an accident?
Hmm. And then, just, I mean, honestly, when she sued the fire department, it wasn't for the murder, but I feel like in a way, because y'all, she got awarded $5.5 million. I think. No, it wasn't no like
I wonder if she shared with Greg.
depending on what side it was, depending on what side it was, like
Depending on how he felt. Or
right.
which parent's side he took, may not have gave him that, may have broke him off. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, we never know. Like, but
Mm.
it was so like y'all. But yeah, they did. She sued the fire department, got paid. Not that she sued them to get paid, but really just to go back in time and heal that little girl, who had so many questions, and to definitely like get justice for her mama, brave woman, because she said in her letter when
Mhm.
she brought it to the detectives in 1993, she said,
Yeah.
"I am afraid of my father and
Yeah.
his retaliation."
And she actually tried to inform them years prior to that, but she literally goes to the Phoenix, Arizona Police Department with the intention on telling them like years before in '93, and she couldn't bring herself to do it because she was so terrified of her daddy. Like he threatened her
Mhm.
religiously. She kind of had to cut off contact. Like life moved on, as she thought that her daddy thought she had forgot. and she popped back up with a vengeance. Like, no, I ain't.
Mm-hmm. Was super brave, and
Yes.
shout out to you.
Yes. Because when I first watched, I was like, well, what took her so long? Because she's been an adult for a while now.
Yeah.
But when she explained the type of things he would do and how he would threaten her and stuff like that, like, I would be terrified of him too. Like, even as an adult, like, that's what's playing in the back of your mind. Like, he can do
Mm-hmm.
XYZ to me. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, even when she, told, she slept with her pistol.
I don't blame her. You better.
Slept with, and I would have too, because the minute because she said that she would move, not tell him where she lived, and he would just find out and just pop up on her doorstep.
See,
I
no.
said, are you kidding me? That is scary.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, when I heard all those details, I was like, well, I can see how that, because that'll last well into childhood. I mean, well into adulthood. Excuse
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the thing is though, we got to keep in mind she's fighting her child memories.
Yeah.
At that time, she thought, "Mommy's sleeping. Mom, mom's sleeping." Like,
Yeah.
you know, like just things a child would think, and she's
Yeah.
trying to fight with those memories and those beliefs that in those agreements she made with herself at a young age, and realizing like, and then growing up and getting the common sense like, my mom wasn't asleep; she was dead.
She was very much dead out there under the concrete.
Yeah, but
I'm
shame on you,
sorry.
Jean. Shame on you.
Murder, bad. Don't do
But
murder.
y'all, this case, one thing when I saw this and I had y'all,
I just still feel for Susie.
I do
She
too.
was really dealt a rough card, like a
Yeah,
very rough card. Like,
yeah. But I could say so many things.
yeah.
But I'm just ticked off that it took them that long to figure this out. Like,
And they
this,
still wouldn't have figured it out if Lori didn't tell.
yeah. Like this woman literally her keys, the night she returned home from her date with her man, her keys and car were at the house.
What does
So,
that tell you?
and then the last person she's with is dead. But y'all, that just says this like cases can be, it may seem like a case is gone cold and, because, but you just never know. It just takes that one big break. And then after that, it's just like a domino effect. And I, now, what I want to know is how the new homeowners felt when they found out that there was a dead body on their property.
I don't know, but I would have sold it and
I
took
would have
off.
sold it.
Ain't no
Don't you
way.
tell them what happened here. Sell it.
I'm not staying here. You said what? It's
Right.
haunted. No,
No.
no.
But that's just crazy. But he really thought he was gonna get away with it. He had buried that woman's body for
Real
eternity.
cocky. Real cocky.
Yes.
Every
But
so
let me tell
often
you.
he would just reach out to Lori and threaten her.
Right. Right. Just kind of like a tune up. Like every now and then, all right. Let me like kind of like a tune up. Like, all right, let me go holler at her, make sure she ain't got out of line.
Make sure she ain't forgot.
It's not funny, y'all. It's really not funny. But like
Murder
seriously,
bad.
like just that's your daughter. That's the part that ticked me off. That's your daughter. And for you to go and get remarried, I just want to know what kind of man he was to his new wife.
I want to know so bad, but ain't that much on that. Ain't that
But
much
I'm
on
gonna
this
tell you,
topic.
they had a picture of him and his new wife on the episode, and I said that is the true evidence of indirectly saying I'm gonna stick beside him. I'm
And
gonna
she
stick
did.
beside him.
And she did.
Oh
How's it working out now for you, girl?
Lord, she if she's still here,
Right. Right.
because you gotta. These ain't young people we talking about.
Yeah, we talking stuff happened. Yeah, way, way back when. These folks was born in the 30s, honey. That's how you know.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
but I always so interested and intrigued to see the way they figure out these cases. Like in that case, they weren't able to use DNA, so they literally used the picture lining her skull up with her picture to make sure like her cheekbones and nose and everything matched the bone structure, right?
Yeah.
And then the tree, like taking a chunk of the tree and taking it to a lab and seeing how long it had been like growing to that extent to see if her body was in that grave before or after the tree went through the skull. It like, just
Right.
interesting stuff. Y'all, I'm telling you, they got a forensic everything. What took me out one day, no it didn't, but you get what I'm saying. What really did it for me one day, they brought a forensic plumber to solve a case. And I'm like, why do you even need that? A forensic plumber.
Cause people be full of shit.
But that forensic plumber came in, y'all. Like once he got finished doing his measurement and really did his whole report.
He found some shit. Literally.
Yeah. Like
Literally. He found some shit.
like he literally like I was like, okay, I see what you did there. Okay.
I did not know that though. Like a forensic plumber. What?
Like, because I can share a little bit of detail on the case and then we gotta go, y'all.
Yeah.
But a husband had alleged that his wife had committed suicide by sticking her head in the toilet.
Bruh.
So they saw like on her like
He
neck.
couldn't come up with a better excuse than that.
He said that, but the thing is, they had an open marriage, and like the whole time he was just mad because she didn't want to be married to him anymore and all that kind of crap. But they saw bruising on her like neck and collarbone, and he said that's from when she tried to drown herself. Now the forensic plumber came in, bought the same toilet, hired a woman with the same weight and height as the victim. And he was able to determine no one is able to kill themselves by putting their head in a toilet by themselves. They would definitely have to have help. And they saw where his hand was on the bathroom counter and her handprints, both of her handprints were on the ground. On the floor. So they were able to determine that he pushed her head in there. He had killed that lady.
But I wonder, and we gotta go. I wonder what kind of education is needed to become a forensic plumber.
I'm trying to be one. I'm trying to be one because I'm like,
what do they teach you in school?
I'm trying to find out. Because someone tell me the bag is magnificent. That's what I'm looking at. I want to help solve cases and stuff. I do.
You're gonna be working with a lot of shit.
No.
Literally.
Yeah. But he came and he was like, nah. But the way he went about the whole investigating it, by the time he got done, the evidence was undeniable. But like they got all types of forensic specialists, and I'm trying to be one.
I don't blame you. It sounds like it's good money.
Oh yeah,
that's Fed level, right?
Right. Might be. It's definitely like science related. So yeah,
awesome benefits.
That's all I'm trying to do.
I highly recommend.
Well, y'all, we enjoyed this case thing. It's another one thing men gonna have is audacity.
Audacity, it must be on sale.
So audacity is on sale. But y'all, tune in next week for another episode of Sisters in Crime with Shy and Toy. Again, I am Shy.
And I'm Toy.
All right, y'all. You can find our episode on YouTube and Spotify every Thursday around 1 o'clock. You can also find our email, SistasinCrimewithShiandToy@gmail.com. Please email us with any feedback, or if you have any other cases you want us to cover, not just murder cases, y'all, missing persons,
anything.
As
long as it's true crime, we with it.
We with it, yeah. And as long as it ain't no mess.
You know what?
I don't. We don't do dysfunction.
We don't.
Mm-mm.
Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna work over here. But we'll
All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Have a great week and a great weekend. Thank y'all.